Okay, so with today's lecture, we're going to have a really quick lecture. I'm going to talk to you about databases. We're going to learn what a unit of analysis is. And then we're going to start talking about what variables are. So this lecture is primarily about vocabulary. So it'll be done pretty quickly. Can't imagine it taking more than 10 minutes. So we'll have the lecture. And then after that, we'll move into the group research portion of this class. Okay, so with today, the first thing we might want to talk about briefly, what are data? So we've talked about the idea of a population. So the population contains all of the elements, the people, if we're talking about students on campus, for example, that we're interested in. Formally speaking, these elements are referred to as a unit of analysis. So if we're thinking about the population of all students here on campus, so each one of you count as a unit of analysis. Sometimes these are referred to as analytical units, but generally speaking, these are the subjects, objects, things that you are interested in studying. When these things exist in the population, we call them units of analysis. If we draw a sample from the population, we still call these things units of analysis. Now, one way to really know what the unit of analysis is to think about what is being measured about them. So every unit of analysis has characteristics. So each one of you has a height, each one of you has an age, each one of you has a GPA. All of these things vary. Very few of you have the same height in this class. Very few of you have maybe the same GPAs. You know, maybe they're really close, but oftentimes these things might even differ by just fractions of percentages. Now, in addition to measuring these, I guess we can say more continuous things, we can also measure discrete things. So people here in this class have eye colors. People in this class have academic class standing. So a lot of you share the same academic class standing. From what I can tell, the majority of you are either juniors or seniors. So we only have two groups. So the unit of analysis is one of the things that you are interested in studying. It's one member of the population. It's one member of your sample. Now, a unit of analysis doesn't have to just be a single person. The unit of analysis can also be a group of people. So I believe this is the Southeastern 2017, maybe it's 2016, softball team. So maybe instead of studying individual people, we're really interested in studying softball teams. So we might go to a softball team and ask, how many games have they won? Or how many people are on the team? Or what school are they at? What region of the country are they located in? The unit of analysis doesn't have to be a person or a group. It can also be an object. So the unit of analysis could be a car. So cars are not alive. A car has various features. Every car has horsepower. Some cars have more horsepower than other cars. The unit of analysis can also get really abstract really quickly. So this picture here of these delicious strawberry and rhubarb cobblers. So this is a picture of cobblers. And like most people, I took this picture And I posted it to Instagram. So you might be interested in photos that have been posted to Instagram. And you might wonder, how many likes did this photo get? So the unit of analysis for this class, for your research projects, are going to be students on campus. One student is one unit of analysis. But the unit of analysis is actually a very abstract thing. And it can include individuals, whole groups of people, inanimate objects, as well as photos that have been posted online. So here are just some more individuals. Here are some groups. So these are all groups of dads, I imagine. So we have biker gangs. Some of them are from different countries. If you are interested in biker gangs, you can find different groups of biker gangs and measure things about them. How far they've ridden in a year, what country they're located in, things like this. And again, the unit of analysis can be very abstract. So I told you that I study juvenile court. I study juvenile court cases. What is a juvenile court case? A juvenile court case is the youth that is involved in the case. But a juvenile court case is also the lawyer that's involved, the judge that's involved, the charges that have been given to the youth. A juvenile court case is the time that it starts until the time that it ends, and everything in between. So a unit of analysis can be a person, but it can also be social interactions. Okay, so we have the unit of analysis. These are the things that we are interested in knowing about. And as I talked about earlier, the things that we want to know about have things about them that we can measure. So if we think about, say, a juvenile court case, we know that it's going to involve either a male or a female. If we think about juvenile court cases, we can think about the youth that are involved, the dispositions they receive, and for some of them, the number of months that they've been incarcerated. So once we have units of analyses, and once we have variables or things that we measure about them, we can then load that information into what's known as a database. So this is an example of a database. This is a database for a study that I conducted a few years back. In this study, I went to several correctional facilities and I interviewed inmates and guards. This database shows the responses they gave me to a number of different survey questions. Each row represents a different inmate or guard. Each column represents a different variable about the inmate or the guard. So looking at this data set, we have one column called inmate underscore staff. This column, this variable, indicates whether or not someone was an inmate or a staff. If you're an inmate, you receive the value of inmate. If you were staff, you receive the value of staff. I also surveyed people and asked them about their race/ethnicity. So here we have a column for race underscore ethnicity. This column represents a variable that represents this quality. This column contains all of the racial identities of the inmates and the staff. identified with. We also have in this case, the months of incarceration. So how much time the person has spent at the facility. So whether you're an inmate or whether you're a guard, you have been at the facility for some number of months. Some people are new on the job, so they've been there for 0 months. Other people have been involved in the system for years, maybe even decades. Maybe it's their career. Maybe it's because of the sentence they received. So here we have a data set. Each row represents a person. Each column represents some variable, some thing that we've measured about each of these people. Together, this represents a data set, also referred to as a database. And as we can see, it takes all that information and it organizes it into a logical form. So again, every row is a person, every column is something measured about them. If you want to find a person, you'd go down the first column. In this case, it's called ID. You'd find the ID number you want, and then you can go across the columns to find information about that person. Okay, so that's the lecture for today. So we talked about databases, we talked about units of analysis, and we also talked about variables.